Hi everyone and welcome back to Complicated Relationships Reddit Stories. Hope you guys are safe and healthy. Now let's see what the story is about today. Okay, today's story is titled My Wife's Ex Reappeared and Our Marriage Was Done. I'm 52 years old and I lost my first wife 10 years ago. Had two beautiful daughters with her, now 21 and 24. Life went on for about 3 years or so and I met my 38-year-old current wife. We met innocently enough, basically bumping into each other in various places in town. Never really talked, sometimes made eye contact with each other at a distance and just smile. Then one day I was getting my car worked on and she walked into the waiting room while hers was worked on as well. So we finally had a good conversation. We talked for about an hour and I was paged that my car was done. I asked if she would like to do lunch one day and she agreed. We exchanged numbers and a day for the meetup. We dated for about 2 years and then got married. She had 2 boys from her previous marriage, now 10 and 14. They moved into my house. My girls loved her not as a stepmom but as a big sister. Although having an adult in the house with 2 teenage boys was a blessing. Life was grand. I loved those boys as if they were my own. I wanted to adopt them when they are old enough to make their own decisions. The little one calls me Dad. The oldest, it was awkward, and I told him to call me whatever he felt comfortable, my first name. My girls called their stepmom by her name. Wife is a stay-at-home mom. We decided until the kids are old enough, she doesn't have to work, but she volunteers at school lunch and other activities. Daughter number 1 is now graduated. The younger daughter is starting grad school today and we are moving rest of her things this weekend. I was told by my wife that her ex left her by the time baby 2 came along and has been no contact since. Her mom is very nice but holds me at arm's length. Father-in-law is an alpha dog. I don't think he wanted anyone else to take care of his only daughter and his grandkids. He would berate me because I was too old. I'm not confrontational, so I told her I would just stay away from them. February this year, her ex reappears. Wants to be in his kids' lives. He started coming around often and I set a boundary that he comes only on weekends, so it doesn't interfere with kids' school. And I also wanted to control his visitation. He comes most weekends, but really spends a little time alone with the kids as we try to give him space. I asked my wife if he paid any child support payments while he was gone. She said no. So I suggested she talk to him about it and get whatever he owes. Also, ask about signing over rights so I could adopt them. She said she would talk to him. First part of March, our intimacy starts to dive. You know where this is going, right? I asked my wife and she has the usual excuses. I notice little things around the house has changed. My favorite snacks are gone, I'm missing a few beers, but the big one was I could smell what I thought was pot. I asked my wife if she was smoking, as we don't. Then I thought it could be the now 14-year-old, so I suggested that we talk to him and she said that she will handle it. About 2 weeks ago, 14-year-old asks if I love mom. I said yes, thinking that he has a girlfriend or something. Time for a talk, right? He says that we always sat together and we were touching each other some way or the other. This made him feel good. He asks if mom loves his dad. I responded that sure, on some level she does. Why asking? He replies that they are always looking at each other, talking and touching. And he's over here at the house all the time. I asked what he meant by all the time. He said almost every day. When they get home from school, he's there and then leaves. That weekend, I'm in the living room and he is over for visitation. He comes in and sits down across from me. I look up from reading and tell him to help himself with a beer. He says nothing. I asked why isn't he with the kids. I could hear laughing coming from the family room. He said he might go in a little bit. I tell him that I will not drink in front of the kids. I wait until after they are in bed. He says nothing. He then tells me, you know that I'm only here for her. What does that mean? Here, you know you're talking about my wife. He says technically they are not divorced and he never signed the papers, so she is still his wife. I know that the judge signed off on the divorce because he could not be found. I finally asked him about the child support since I never heard back from my wife. He just looked at me and said he paid $15,000 in cash. What? Then I asked if she talked to him about giving up his rights. He said she never asked. He asked what it would be worth to me. I said, "You got to be kidding me. You want a deal for your kids?" Before he could answer, I told him to leave. The next day, this past Sunday, the kids were at grandma's with wife. I bought a small camera and installed it on top of the TV. It has a view of the front door and the living room, motion activated. Nothing unusual until Wednesday about 10 a.m. I get an alert on my phone when the camera activates. I figure it's the wife cleaning up, but I looked anyways. He comes and she lets him in. They kiss and he starts touching her and she's playfully pushing him away. They are laughing. He sits down on the couch and she brings him beer and snacks. Drinking at 10 a.m.? Then she disappears. She is back a few minutes later. Clothes changed, she is going to school for lunch. They are talking, more touching, more pushing away, and they are laughing. A few minutes later, she is up getting ready to leave. He gets up and holds her again, making some gestures, then poses like he is praying with their hands together. They sit down again, and you know what happened next. And later, she gets up and goes out of range. Comes back, says something, and then leave. He then watches TV, and then he takes a nap. Screen eventually goes blank. A little after 1 p.m., another alert. She's home. They talk, and they both leave the room. I know they are headed to the bedroom. I just raced home and catch them. They never heard me coming. And there are the hysterics that you would expect. He slithers out. I tell her she has to go. She pleads that it was just a one-time mistake and he had just got there. She was lonely because we weren't intimate anymore. I asked how often he came over. She said just the weekends. This was an anomaly. I showed the video of him napping. She said he was tired and she said okay. Then I showed her the video and she had nothing to say. I told her to pack her bags and leave. I left and called her dad and asked him to pick her up because we were having some issues. He of course takes alpha position, telling me how I would mess this up, yada yada. I just couldn't get a word in. Finally, I stopped him and asked again. Then he said yes. I had enough. I said I would send him something and I sent the video. I told him to view the video and call me back and tell me if I was wrong. He never called back. I talked to my lawyer and he helped me with the estate plan after my first wife, referred me to a partner who does family law and we'll meet on Tuesday. He felt, but I did not know for sure, that I would be on the hook for support for kids. No alimony because she broke our prenup. I made it up before the marriage in addition to our estate plan to protect my girls. I don't care about the child support. I'm glad to do it. The 14-year-old is partially vulnerable as he will be in high school next year. Formative years. I just don't want him to go down the tube and turn out to be like his dad. We have an update on the story, but before that, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Here is the update. In the evening, my 14-year-old calls and asks, "Dad, what's going on? No one is talking to us. Mom and Grandma are crying and Grandpa is yelling. Is this because of what I told you?" I assured him that his mom made a mistake and he had nothing to do with this mess. He asked me if I was packing up their stuff because he saw the U-Haul in the driveway. I explained what happened and all their stuff will remain there. Mondays and Wednesdays were sports nights. Family sits in the bleachers while I stand behind the home plate backstop. It's my usual spot since I don't see eye to eye with father-in-law. Across the field, the older stops his warm-up and runs over to me. We hug and I sent him back. As I get to my spot, I have the 10-year-old crashing into me at full speed. I hugged and kissed him all over as he is squirming away. My father-in-law came and apologizes me for the way he treated me in the past and that he was wrong. Well, a little late, but I accepted and said I knew that it was a hard thing for him to do. He invited me to sit with them, but I declined. He asked me if I wanted to talk to my wife. I said Thursday would be better. After meeting up with lawyer and so much info in hand, I meet with the father-in-law and wife. Before we started, she wanted to talk to me privately. Father-in-law moved to another room. Wife started to apologize. I just cut her off. I said, before you say anything, know that I know a lot more than you think. I asked how long it was physical. She said the one time. I told her the video shows that it's not true. I played a clip of her dusting the TV. She never saw the camera. I know it was only a few days, but she was going to lie. So I was too. She thought it was a part of the video game. She admitted it was since March, almost right away. I told her the family secret, that he was in jail and not running away. She admitted to this also. I asked how long in contact. She said since February. I asked if she met up with him before him appearing. She said no. Then I told her that he had been out for 3 years. The look on her face told me that she did not know. We get the father-in-law back in. I asked if she had a lawyer. She said no. I told her to get one because the divorce will happen. They both asked if something along reconciliation could take place, and I said no. I said I wanted the boys and she could live with her ex. We settled on the boys that they could see me at any time within reason. She would not keep me from them. I said I would provide at my choosing. She would get no support. I did not want her getting the boys to ask me for things because they would be honest if I asked. End of the story. Thanks for listening. Please like, comment and share the story if you enjoyed it. Also subscribe and hit the bell icon so you will be notified when we upload the next video. Take care.